Alrighty, chasers, welcome back to another edition of the Quit Chasing podcast. A little cheeky, a little irreverent, but always unqualified. I'm Alex Kruger. That's Danny Gerb. Danny, say hi to the folks.
Zup. Hey, Alex, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Did I get the intro right this time? Did
Nailed
I do
it.
you? Oh, thank
Nailed
God.
it.
Okay.
We're
All
on
right.
a one episode streak. Can you
Hey, you
can
got
one be a
no,
streak?
no, because just the other week I said the three can't be a streak. So,
I think
no.
well,
Well,
Lou Brown considers three a streak.
and that's that. If Lou Brown says it, if the
Right.
coach and the manager of the Cleveland Indians at that time,
At the
Indians,
time.
now Guardians, that time Indians, if he says it, I will follow it. I will follow
Yeah.
Lou Brown
Yeah.
to the ends of the earth. How you doing,
Absolutely.
man?
I'm all right. How was your weekend?
What did I do last weekend?
It
I
was
worked.
it
It
was
was
the
Memorial
day.
Day weekend,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's the
Okay.
one.
So honestly, dude, pretty boring. I cleaned up the house, I worked on some work stuff, and I fixed like a leak in my laundry room, and that's kind of it. Then I got my kids back Sunday. We had fun Monday. Oh, we went to see oh God, what movie? If Imaginary Friends, Steve Carell and Ryan Reynolds and little Judith Grimes from The Walking Dead. Fun movie. Tearjerker. Kids didn't quite, I don't think, understand all the subtle nuances about life and death and growing up. But it was cute. It was a fun movie. So how about you? How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Well, you have a cat, so they will one day. That's the second week I've talked about that cat. I know, man. I don't know
Man,
what.
don't talk. I'm not ready to think about Hermione passing on to that next life. She's still got like at least 6 lives to go.
Oh, you went the Hocus Pocus movie name with it.
Kara,
What's the name of that
named,
movie?
it's Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's it. Harry
My
Potter.
God, it's
That's the
not
one.
one movie, Danny. It's 8 movies. Like, put a little bit of respect on a franchise that did its thing.
Dude, never saw them, but funny enough, I
Oh,
drove.
that's so great. I love how hipstery you are right now. Oh, I never saw Harry Potter. That's great. I'm so proud of you for that.
I get
Is that
it,
what you
dude. I've
want from
never
me?
seen the Star Wars. I haven't watched the Marvel universe. We've discussed this briefly. Anyways, my weekend was good, Alex. I drove past Third and Vaughn.
Say again.
I drove past Third and Vaughn
You
in
were in
Harrisburg,
Harrisburg?
Pennsylvania. I was. It was my
Hold
brother's
on, hold
birthday.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. You
Yes.
were in Harrisburg. You
Yes.
were a 5-minute drive away from me, and you
Absolutely.
did not let me know.
That is correct.
Are you shitting me right now?
Dude, I was in a bad way. I got a little day drunk with our good friend Matt Pupo the day
And that's the
before.
other thing. So you see Matty Pupo in Philly. He comes from Harrisburg. He comes from Philadelphia, from Pittsburgh. Jesus Christ. He comes from Pittsburgh, skips Harrisburg on his way to Philly. I forget what he was
Uh-huh.
doing, but he went to Philly to hang out with you when I'm his
Yeah,
primary best friend.
that's
And then
right.
you come to Harrisburg and you don't reach out to. What is going on?
This is what we're talking about when the Phils are on a schneid.
I hate this story so unbelievably much right now.
Dude, don't take any of it personal. Got a little
I'm
day
taking
drunk
all
with
of it
Matty
personal.
P.
I get
Went to
that.
the hometown. Didn't give you a call. Came back here.
Wait,
Whatever.
hold on. Did you and
Mhm.
Matty P come to the hometown?
No, no. But I think
Okay.
we did leave the same day, but no, we did not travel together.
You really drove past my parents' house?
Yeah, I went to the Arts Fest.
You son of a bitch. I would have gone to Arts Fest with you, man. I was hanging out in my house fixing a laundry room.
All
What
right,
is
that's my bad then.
that one's on you. All right.
Maya culpa, man.
Wow. Wow. I am. Did you save this moment just to be content for our show? Because if so, it's brilliant, and I immediately forgive you. I'm giving you the out, man. Just take it.
Maybe.
There you go. All right. Then I'm happy. Then it was planned wonderfully, executed
I
perfectly.
figured no one's gonna want to hear us talk about the Phillies losing 5, right?
You know, I think it's time that we need to. We're 4 minutes in, so let's call it what it is, Danny. This is all about the week that was, the deep freeze edition. That's right, Chasers. The Phillies went on the West Coast, and it didn't go how we anticipated. First game, you got Philadelphia 2, Colorado 3 in 11 innings. This was the Harper ejection game. In the first game, in the first inning, umpire number 120 made it all about him. Still took the Rockies 11 innings to put us away at a time when we had Johan Rojas hitting the third. All right. So real quick, I have in our notes Mama Kruger story. So my mom texted me about
Uh-huh.
like, oh, so Harper throws his bat on the ground and thinks that that qualifies as a conversation. And it took me like 2 days to understand what she was talking about, but now that I've
Okay.
finally I get what she was saying. Like, so mom, I know you're listening to this right now, okay, and I know that you're gonna love and hate me explaining this to you, but so Harper's conversation was asking the umpire, like, okay, man, you called that a strike. Where did you have that as a strike? Because I didn't clock that as a strike there. And I need to understand your strike zone before my next at bat. So out of curiosity, dude, I'm just wondering, like, was that low? Was that outside? Like, where did you have that? And the ump said it was out. And like he didn't give him anything back. Harper asked a second time, and the ump tossed it because the umps have short fuses because they're kind of wusses. So that's the conversation Bryce was saying. He was saying, I was trying to have a conversation. And he admitted, yeah, he spiked his bat, but Bryce Harper's a passionate guy. I like that passion.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They were two separate actions. The bat spike was obviously in frustration of the call. He took that deep breath. Then you have the conversation with the ump. Hey, what were you calling that outside? Were you calling that low? Where are you having that? Is that your zone for the day? You have those conversations. That's a perfectly normal conversation.
All the time. If you watch closely at every single at bat where a dude strikes out looking or strikes out swing, honestly, any strike, they're almost always conversing with the umpire, like, hey, like, how'd you, especially if it's a strike swinging or a strike looking and they don't make any contact because they're like, hey, like, was I just a dumbass for swinging at that? Was that a ball? Or like, hey, man, like, that was kind of a tweener. What would you have called that? And maybe they'll give you that answer, maybe that won't, but that's when you have that conversation. That's when, again, Danny and I have spoken many times on this podcast about our dislike of umpire strike zones. I want to point out emphatically your strike zone can be bad as long as it is consistent all game and for both teams. You can have the dumbest strike zone in the universe as long as it's universal for all 9 innings. I don't care. Live with it. I'm good with that human element. But be consistent. When you're not consistent, that's when I'm going to crucify you. Anyways, that was game one. We're taking too long for this. Second game, Philadelphia 8, Colorado 4. Look at that. The Bats woke up a bit more. Still felt like a loss until the ninth, when we went absolutely knucking futs.
Yeah. You know what I found funny about that whole thing was it was Sosa and Stubbs that got that all rolling, right?
Really, I mean, the most power bats in our lineup, Danny. When I think about where am I going to look for a clutch hit, I'm thinking Edmundo Sosa and, of course, Garrett Stubbs.
Yeah, well, you know what, Stubbs needed it, and Harper did complete the knucking futz, I believe, is what you said.
Yes, sir.
Part of it with his revenge homer there. That was a 120 revenge homer, we'll call it.
He definitely, and honestly, even in the first inning, he either scored the run or the RBI in the first inning. Like he was like, no, no, I just told the reporters if I had been in that game, I could have squibbed something, we would have won. And he's right. So I did enjoy him saying that. But then that takes us to the finale of the Colorado series. So we hadn't lost a series since early mid-April, and we lost this one, man. Philly 2, Colorado 5. What's worse, losing the no loss series momentum or Ranger Suarez getting his first loss? It reminds me of a quote from the movie Basketball. I believe it was not nominated for an Oscar, travesty, but the quote was, "Well, it was a team effort, and I guess it took every player working together to lose this one." And I think that perfectly personifies the Phillies loss to Colorado there.
Dude,
So
dude,
I know,
dude,
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 dude. Took me a second.
dude. Yeah, it took you way too
It
long.
it took me way too long, and it often does when you go for these bits. So I'm happy eventually I did catch on.
Yeah, you got there.
Um,
So here's the thing. If that was a rhetorical question, I'm gonna answer it. So like it's the series thing, right? Y- the you want to win series. That's what baseball is. Rangers gonna have bad outing, pitchers have bad outings. The funny thing is he went 1, 2, 3 his last 4 innings out of that game. Um you hear all that talk about like guys who throw off speed stuff that just doesn't break, doesn't move in Colorado. because of the thin air. And I always kind of shook that off. And then Anthony Sanfilippo says it, and
Dude,
I take it as
dude,
gold.
the second
Like
Sanfilippo said, like, well, you know what? You do have to adjust to pitching in Colorado. I'm like, that's exactly what it was for. Okay, that's exactly what it was for Ranger. Yes, dude, yes.
some jabronis like you and I say that, I roll my eyes. Anthony Sanfilippo says, I'm like, yeah, dude,
No,
makes sense.
absolutely,
So
absolutely. I'm so happy you brought that up.
yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely.
All right, well, that was Colorado, which is always whatever. Next, we headed out to the Bay Area to San Francisco for three weird ass start times in a row. So, first up, we have Philadelphia 4, San Francisco 8. This game had more errors than Windows 2000. This was a stupid game after a stupid series where we all wanted and needed a damn win. Team didn't necessarily care much about a win. I don't know. That game irritated the hell out of me.
That whole series did, I'll be honest with you. I went back and watched the highlights of the games. Not much.
Because you weren't watching the game, were you?
I wasn't watching them live. I was watching them the next day.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And
Okay.
then I was reading everything about them, and you can blow through this section for all I care.
All right, cool. So game number two, Philadelphia 0, San Francisco 1. That was the final score after 10 innings, people. I told you before this game, Danny, I'd be lucky to last 5 innings before I fell asleep. For a pitching-ish duel, this game was ungodly boring. I was so frustrated at one point, and I texted you this. I entertained the idea that Wheeler doesn't have it for like all of 15 seconds. The only run in this game was unearned. Baseball is dumb in May sometimes.
It absolutely is, and I'm glad you got off.
I am. Oh God. I needed that. I needed that kind of game, and it kind of happened. So whatever. I'll take it. But then we get to the finale of that series.
I did watch
Philadelphia.
this one.
Now that was it
It was
made
it was normal baseball time.
it was baseball again, and I'm going to get to that. So, Philadelphia 6, San Francisco 1. We avoided the series sweep, which I know it's a dumb thing to hang our hat on, but so far I'm hanging my damn hat on the fact that we've not yet been swept this season. Looky, we got hooky. After reminding all of us what the 2003 Phillies games were like for the last 5 outings, the 2024 Phils finally showed back up, and they showed up strong. Casty hit a homer. Schwarber started the game with an oppo boppo. Mom, that means an opposite field home run. And Sanchez is starting to look like arguably one of the best number 4 pitchers in the majors. Most importantly, on the 7-year anniversary of Harper getting into a fight with Hunter Strickland, Harper almost got into it with some high school junior named Kyle Harrison, who threw a few too many balls at his face. We got the win, Dan.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Sanchez looked great.
So good, man. And like he was always sneaky good last year. Like he would always have 2 or 3 runs get in, but like he did lock it down. The game I went to in Pittsburgh that Sanchez started, he did amazingly. Amazingly. I forget which jerk it was that gave up the runs in extra innings, but like Sanchez did what you needed him to do. And you know what? The Phils did what we needed them to do on this road trip, sort of. They went 2-4, yes, but they're still 6 up in the division on the Braves. And here's the craziest part, bro. Like they still have MLB's best record. They went 2-4. We're all lamenting about a horrible stay out on the West Coast, and they still have Major League's best record. We're not used to this. So have they answered that final question for you as a fan that needs them to answer the question of when adversity hits, do you hit back? Have they answered that for you, Dan?
It's the final question. Do 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 do. Yeah. So they got off the schneid, right? They broke the longest losing streak of the season, 3 games. And they broke the Oracle Park losing streak. That final game.
2021 was the last time we won at Oracle Park. Crazy.
Yeah, right. So here's the deal. Yeah, they did. We've seen them slump for way longer. We've seen bats get colder. And do you know what? Like, yeah, and the bats being cold in San Francisco in that ballpark in May, which is a tough ballpark. I think they did. I would like to see it now with Turner in the lineup. when it happens again, I would like to see it. Yeah, right. I mean, that's
Steve, Chris, our friends from our past show, our roundtable. Did you hear Danny Gerb just say that he looks forward to the day that Trey Turner is in the lineup so that he can see what that magical pop can do
all
in
right.
San Francisco and Colorado?
That's not quite what I said.
Well,
It-
I'm paraphrasing in a way that I appreciate.
but for now, the question has been answered. Yeah, let's see if they can do it a little quicker. It'd be nice to see it done in 2 games. Uh, Again, the credit Jack Fritz. We're watching this season through the lens of
I
what's
thought
he
of
gonna
you.
do in October.
I
And
thought of
four
you when he said
games,
that. Yes.
yeah, rebounding in 4 games isn't getting you out of a series. So let's see if they can start turning around in 2, 1 even. That'd be great. So,
I
but
love it. I love it. I
yeah,
mean, it took him until the end of damn May to lose 3 in a row. That's not bad. I'll take that.
new look
I'll take
Phils,
that
bro.
all damn day. New
New
look
look
Phils,
Phils.
Danny. New look
New look,
Phils.
absolutely.
All right, so before we get into our casual, normal, everyday bits, I introduced us to a new bit this week, Danny. Game time. So this week we're gonna play high low. Fans, chasers, friends out there, we aren't stats heavy, but we appreciate good stats every now and then. This season has provided us with some really wacky and unexpected stats. So I grabbed 5 of them, and I'm going to ask Danny if the number I provide him is too high or too low. Danny, are you ready to play high low?
I'm not, but let's do this.
Outstanding. Kyle Schwarber
It's
is
too
6
high.
feet 1 inches.
Oh, that sounds. Uh, that sounds low.
Okay. You're wrong because he's actually lower than that. Kyle is only 6 feet tall. Kyle Schwarber is the same size as me.
So
Does that make any sense
Rangers,
to you?
no, it doesn't. Rangers 6 feet.
Ranger 6. So Ranger and Kyle Schwarber are the same height. Like, dude. So I went into this exercise trying to find playing stats, but then I got to the demographic stats. And I'm like, hold up, Kyle Schwarber is 6 foot. That does not track at all.
There's no way him and Ranger are the same size.
Well, then here you go, buddy. Because number
All right.
two,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Castellanos is 6'3".
High.
You're saying that 6'3" is too high.
I'm just putting them all in a line in my head. And if Schwarber is 6 foot,
Yep.
yes, that's what I'm going high.
Unfortunately, it's too low because Nick Castellanos is 6'4".
Okay, apparently I have no idea how tall people
Dude,
are. Is this
right?
like is
Like
this like
Bryson Stott is 6 feet tall. Like, what is going on here?
is
I
this
don't know
like
how tall anyone is.
yeah, this is like so I think part of the problem is I've watched wrestling way too long where they build weights and heights whatever they need them to be for the
That's true.
storyline.
That's
So I
true.
guess I have no perspective of what a 6 whatever dude looks like on TV. Also, they're always like this big when I'm on.
Yeah, but still, I've seen Nick Castellanos in the outfield. Like he and Brandon Marsh are like an inch apart. They don't feel like an inch apart at all. But yeah, I don't know. But so, anyways, I got away from height. I got
Thank
real numbers.
God. This is
I got away from
awful.
height. I know. All right. So number 3, okay. Johan Rojas
It's
has
weight
spent.
now. We're doing weight.
We're not doing weight. We're
Oh,
not.
it
I thought
was
about it. I thought about it, but I did not. So Johan Rojas has spent 42 days in the outfield, and Brandon Marsh has spent 41 days in the outfield. Is this number for both of them? It's the same direction.
hmm.
Are those numbers too low or too high?
Hmm. They're too high.
They're too low, Danny.
How are
Get
they too
this.
low?
Get this. No, 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 no. This is actually going to break your brain that much harder.
Okay.
Brandon Marsh has spent 48 days in the outfield. Johan Rojas has only spent 45 days in the outfield. How does that make sense given how much Marsh is sitting for lefties?
For lefties, right. That's what, like, so in my head, I was like, all right, we're somewhere
Right.
around the high 50 mark in games, right? Mid
56. We're at
50s.
56.
Yeah,
We're at 56 games.
right.
And
Mid
and Marsh has
50s.
been in 48.
That
Doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem right.
Pro Baseball Reference, I might have issues with you later, but
Yeah.
that's what I got. All right,
We'll go
number
through the
4.
lineups just
Number 4,
because I can't be this wrong.
if you actually watched yesterday's game, you'll
This
know
is a
this answer.
stupid game, Alex, but
I
all
love it
right.
so much because you're terrible at it. So, I'll let you do this as well. You can get me in one
Sure.
of the other ways. So, Edmundo Sosa has hit 3 triples this season.
Hi, man.
You think that's too high?
He's hit a few. Wow, 4. All right.
4 triples this season, and they actually had that highlight graphic yesterday. So I felt like if ever there was one you were going to get, it was that one. All right. All right. I got
All
one
right.
more before we get into the bonus round, okay? So, number 5. Of all players with at least 200 plate appearances, Bryson Stott has the least amount of strikeouts with 30.
Say it again. With what?
Of
Oh,
all
with
players
30.
with
Least
200
amount.
plate appearances, Bryson Stott has the least strikeouts because he only has 30. Is 30 too high or too low?
Let's hmm. Ah, dude, I couldn't even venture a guess.
Well, try.
It is too high.
Yes, Danny, it is too high. 30 is his RBI total. His strikeout total is 27. So in at least 200 plate appearances, he's only struck out 27 times.
Yeah, he's has people were complaining about him there a handful of weeks ago, but he's actually been
Yep.
having sneaky good at bats, so it did
Would
seem
you,
high.
would you like to know the stats of strikeouts for the other 200 plate appearances
Sure.
players? All right. Kyle Schwarber, 73 strikeouts, match. Nick
Hmm.
Castellanos, 54 strikeouts. Yep. Bryce Harper, 53 strikeouts. Yep. Alec Bohm, 32 strikeouts.
Okay.
Right. Like I expect Schwarber, Casty, and Harper's numbers to be there. And honestly, at this place, like at this stage in the game, I expect Stott and Bohm's numbers to be there.
Sounds good.
All right, you hated this edition of the
I,
Daily Grind.
I I did not have fun. I had a poor showing. I did not have
It,
fun.
it wasn't your best, and I went out of my way to be tricky with it. So that's on me. That might be on me. But I got 2 bonus ones for you. All right, we're the Quit Chasing podcast. So the Phil's chase is higher or lower than the MLB average of 28.2%.
Ooh.
Is the Phillies chase rate higher or lower than the MLB average of 28.2%?
I am going to go higher and say they're probably somewhere around that 32 mark.
You should have stopped it higher because you were
Uh-huh.
on the money with higher.
Uh-huh.
MLB
Where's
average
it at?
MLB average is 28.2,
Yeah.
Phillies 28.4.
Good for them.
Dude, good for them. Right? Like good stuff. I'm super excited for that.
It has been dropping since the beginning of the season
It
exponentially. That's
it
awesome.
really has. It really has. And that's something that, Cassie said that they've alluded to. Like they're trying to chase less. So they heard we were doing a podcast, Danny, and they were like, we've listened to Crossing Broad. They're cool and all, but like these quit chasing guys, they get it. They understand. And they're like, we're gonna do it. I have one more stat for you. Okay.
All right. I'm ready.
And I mean, it's not really it's not higher or lower. Okay. I'm just going to ask you to give me the numbers. So this is our error counter edition. The current error leader on the team is Alec Bohm. How many errors does he have?
I'm gonna go 5.
You're going to go 5. Well, Trey Turner has 4. Alec Bohm has 9.
He's up to 9.
He is up to 9 errors.
I think they give some of those errors at first base. I think they're giving them throwing errors on Boom, which
I
I
think
don't
they
know.
are, but let's be
I
honest
think
here.
someone's getting the veteran treatment on that one.
Yes and no. Yes and no. All right. Okay. Yeah. No, 100% yes. But let's be honest here. MLB is all about awarding the hit over awarding the error. So I do
Hmm.
find it a little bit interesting that Alec Bohm has 9 freaking errors. I did not. There goes the Gold Glove. I had crazy
Yeah.
delusions of grandeur there. for the
Again, I think he's getting hooked with some throwing errors that aren't necessarily his.
you know what? That is for the pundits to decide, Danny. Um, and when it comes to the pundits, it brings us to our next section, which I am pleased to say is our media stables.
Absolutely.
And go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. So, in honor of yesterday's, it's 100 days to football radio onslaught. Let's welcome our guest, a fellow Old City Sports Network podcaster. He is the host of Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles podcast. It's Michael Roscoe, and we're bringing him in. Hey, bud.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
It's good to
Of
have
course.
you.
Yeah,
Glad to be
right.
here.
So, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Work was a bit of a chaotic series of unfortunate events today, but we made it through. But I love what I do. So, it's just another day, one at a time. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Nice, good. I've heard that saying before. All right. So, thanks for coming on, Michael. We're obviously the baseball guys. You are the football guy. Where are you with like baseball fandom, all that kind of stuff?
So I would be a bad Philly fan if I didn't say I have some fandom towards the Phillies. I don't watch as much MLB as I do like minor league baseball games.
Okay.
Uh,
Speaking Danny's language right there.
Yeah.
the Richmond Flying Squirrels are like just up the road from
Sure.
where I'm at. So and then my buddy who worked in like sports in Atlanta, he was working for all over the place at one point, the Atlanta Hawks NBA team. He also worked in a minor league team, the Gwinnett Stripers. So I support them in honor of my good friend who also just got married recently. So I'm more of a minor league guy, but I grew up paying more attention to Baltimore and Philadelphia baseball.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I love
And
that. Honestly,
totally makes
that's my prediction for the World Series. So there you
I
go.
mean,
It'd be a hell of a game.
I would love that so much.
he comes on the show and mentions a Braves affiliate and a Giants affiliate, but we're not going to hold that against him.
We're not. He's got Swoop in the background. I'm good with it.
Yeah, all right. Fair
Got
enough.
to.
Fair enough. All right, cool. Well, good to know. So, like the NFL, right? We can all admit, Alex and I can admit it. Everyone who has eyes can admit they have done a hell of a job just growing their game. There is rumors out there that there is going to be a NFL football game on every day of the week come football season. Um, and it makes sense. You have access to all the teams, if not most of the teams each week. It's not some regional thing that, you see Phillies and you drive 45 minutes, into a suburb and for some reason you can't get the broadcast. Like MLB can learn a thing or two from the NFL. That being said, do you, as a fan of the Eagles and, doing your Eagles podcast, have any reason or explanation on like how the NFL or the Birds, for instance, have such a hold on this region that people and the airwaves can just rehash the same 17, 18 games a season for the entire year, day after day, hours after hours. Like it blows Alex in my mind. But baseball is you got a game every day. So it's on to the next. You can't look behind you too much. What's your take on all of that?
That's a very good question. So I have a couple of reasons that come to mind for like why specifically with Philly we have such a chokehold on fandom for the Eagles. You kind of said it yourself. Baseball has a game every day. They have like 162, 163, some games like that a year. I don't know the exact number, but Philly at most may have 17, or the Eagles may have 17 games, maybe 20 plus, depending on how the playoffs go. So it's that availability. And when you don't have as easy, from a behavioral standpoint, when you don't have as easy access to one as you do the other, you start to crave more of that other that you don't have as much access to on a regular basis that you would with, say, baseball, where you have that almost every day during the months where there's not a lot of sports going on too. You got that time in the spring and the summer, unless it's like the Olympics year, that's mainly your go-to sport to watch. There's not many like PLL games on TV. You might have some Formula One, some NASCAR, the Olympics if it's an Olympic year in the summer. But baseball is your go-to like in the spring, summer. Football, the UFL is trying to get it going on with the spring. Obviously, you have some guys who may not have been NFL caliber going down there, but it's that availability right now. With 17 games, you got to get it all in while you can before you next thing you know, it's the off season and you got all these events going on. So I think just that, availability of it being seen, that action availability being lower compared to Phillies baseball and baseball as a whole is really what kind of makes us want to hold on to it so much.
All right, so Danny, before you jump in, I gotta say that was an answer I was not expecting, and that was one of the best freaking arguments I have ever heard for why football has the stranglehold on the 24-hour sports media landscape, because you only get 17 to 18 occurrences to discuss a year. So you do build that, if you build it, they will come type mentality. And yeah, man, baseball, we're all over the place, dude. Basketball, 82 game season. Danny, I see you trying to talk. I'm going to keep going for just 2 seconds. I'm going to let you in, I promise. But that's a really good point. Danny, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's something that, so I totally understand. You take a loss on a Sunday, for instance, and you spend the whole up until, maybe you're doing your pregame stuff that Friday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday morning. So I understand the whole 5-6 day post-mortem of a loss. What I don't quite get is, for instance, on May 21st of this year, the Philadelphia Phillies, best team in baseball, 35-14. They're about to take on the World Series champs with Ranger Suarez on the mound. It's a Ranger versus Ranger. And Joey Gabagool, that is Joe Gagiglio.
It's Joey Gabagool.
It's Joey Gabagool
Where's the
quick
freaking Gabagool?
Yeah,
Where's
Joey Gabagool.
I'm trying to bait him on Twitter. I'm going to get him at some point. I'm trying to bait him into a fight on Twitter, but go ahead.
The midday show opens up with the question: did we overreact to Jalen Hurts last season? Just in general, just overreact to what? Just did we overreact to Jalen Hurts this season? No thought, just say Jalen Hurts' name, and people are gonna call. Are Alex and I the crazy ones here? It's May 21st. It's the hottest team in baseball. And you're opening up with the show with a generic question of, did we overreact to Jalen Hurts last season? What are your thoughts on just that type of attitude, the nonstop, caller-based sports talk radio? Am I making any sense?
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So I think, Philadelphia as a city, we love our sports. We will tear down the city whether we win or we lose. That's just what Philly does. No one likes us. We don't care. That's the motto of Eagles fans everywhere. But I think as a whole, like I said, Philly loves their sports. And no matter what, you can make an argument out of anything. It may be baseball season, but you can talk about football. You talk about one sport, you find yourself going into a tangent about another sport. So I think it kind of leads into for at least people talking about it, you start off with one sport during, another sports season, then you start talking about both sports, and then you flip the script. You might talk about some Philly stuff during NFL season. Next thing you know, you're talking about baseball during football season. So it's all gearing towards the audience, the it's audience targeting, so okay, this person's a Phillies fan, they're likely going to be an Eagles fans. Let's target others who may be having people over who don't watch as much baseball or don't watch as much football and get them into it as well by going cross sports with other people who, let's say you and I, all three of us are at, some watching the World Series. And let's say I'm not super big into baseball. Then they start talking about the Eagles. And I'm like, okay, I see like the cross relationship between these two. Let me look into some Phillies stuff and then get that going. And then boom, next thing I know, my algorithms on social media and everything like that are Phillies related stuff. So it's attention seeking from the media to the people. And in terms of caller in stuff, it's sometimes it's clout, sometimes it's just to get people riled up. That's why, like, when you see videos like YouTube shorts and everything like that, they have like the generic but like kind of out of pocket parts of the, like, out of pocket but out of context parts of a show in those like 30-second clips. So you're like, okay, this sounds weird, or like kind of like almost like it sets you up to be pissed off, and so you want to go watch the rest of it, and then it's actually something you agree with, but next thing you know, you're watching the full thing. So it's audience targeting. And WIP Radio 94 got into some shit for kind of like stirring up these rumors about AJ Brown trades. I'm like, dude, he signed a 4-year contract worth $100 million. He's not gonna go and leave another team 2 years into that. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, and they admitted that they were saying some shit because it was like the beginning of the off season and they were bored and they needed some content to come up with. So they just kind of pulled something out of their ass to get people riled up, and it worked because people around it were talking all about it. I watched various things like the Thomas Mott show, the Philly special, a few other shows. They were talking about it on theirs too. So I'm like, you got it. You said one thing that you think can rile up a whole audience, and it worked, and it ran with it for a while until AJ cleared the air, because the fans knew. The fans realistically knew it was a whole bunch of
That was
bullshit.
Fritzy. That was
It was,
Fritzy that
yeah,
did that. That was
it was,
Fritzy that did that. Oh
it
my
was
god!
our
I was
boy
this whole
Jack
time.
Fritz.
I was like, is this Elliott Shore Parks? I mean, he already got Deshaun Jackson fired. Is he gonna get? Is he gonna get AJ? No, it was Elliott Shore Parks' little protege Jack Fritz who tried to get AJ Brown fired. Okay, all right. It
Yeah,
took me a second to get there.
I would say
I'm
it's more
saying,
of an Eskin protege, but what do I know? You know
well,
what, Michael? I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't put it on
oh,
the sheet, but I had it. I had it just like cocked and loaded. I was gonna be like, "Yo, what's your take on WIP versus Brown?"
yeah,
But
it was
you got to it
they
before
admitted
I
it.
did.
Yeah, they admitted it. They were like, we kind of had to get something riled up, which, I mean, does that not fuck up your credibility as a spot, as a, an announcer? If you're openly admitting, hey, we kind of just exaggerated some stuff for some attention, for some clout to get things going because we had a slow run, does that just decreases the fidelity of your network a little bit? I mean, there's got to be people who still listen to it because it's a big popular thing, and they could probably get away with something like that. But smaller shows like us wouldn't get away with that stuff. We'd be canceled in a heartbeat if we went and did some rumor creating in the about a player or a team or whatever. But bigger networks, sure, they could probably get away with something like that. But it
are
was
we
talked
not
about.
supposed to do that? Are we not supposed to just make up
I was
rumors?
like, yeah.
Because that's my
I
next
see.
three
I
segments.
learned that last week, so I'm just learning not to do so now.
Uh,
No, I'm kidding. But
well,
it worked though. It worked. People were talking about it for so long until it was like cleared up, and then like kind of in a time where other stuff was going to come up to talk about. So like, okay, now we can dwindle down on talking about this, clear the air, because
It goes
now
to the
there's some
draft.
news and stuff. Yeah, exactly, to the draft, because now there's some stuff to talk about, so we don't have to kind of pull shit from our ass and get people all riled up. Now they can be distracted by the draft. Then they can be distracted by OTAs. Then they can be distracted by training camps, mini camps, all that kind of stuff.
so what I have learned here in this conversation is two things. One, I'm taking it that if you go to a buffet or having dinner or whatever, you'll eat your steak and your potatoes and the corn. It doesn't matter. You're not doing it all at once. One time, one after another, like I am. I guess I'm the weirdo. And you can consume multiple sports at a time. And the other thing that I've learned is that, dude, you're one of us, man. This whole section was just like our low key way of like
Yes.
crapping on WIP, and you picked up right on it.
You
So
were right there for it, dude. I'm so
yeah,
happy. This was the best idea you've
And
ever had,
it's,
Daniel.
I'm only crapping on that specific part of what WIP
Which
did.
ditto,
Obviously, I don't get
ditto.
it down here in Virginia, but, like, when I saw that going around, I was like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" Like,
Dude, I listened to WIP for like 3 hours before the Phil's game on Sunday, just because I don't live in Philly. I live like 2 hours, to the left on the map in Harrisburg.
It's called
It
West.
West, thank you. Yes, west. To the left.
to the
Anytime,
left.
To the
anytime.
left. Yes, west. So I'm right there. I'm not as knee deep in Philly as Daniel-san is. So I feel you, but dude, it's really tough to listen. Like I listen to the Phillies like post-game show every day after they post it. And man, you start getting those Philly callers in and their dumb ideas, and like the hosts just go with it. They know what's going to get clicks. They know that if they're incendiary enough, they're going to make waves. And it's just like, God damn, it's tough. It is.
They have that capability, and, you can't get into, like, too big of a debate on there because you only have so much radio time, but you say and do just enough to, get what you need to get going. And of course, every Philly person is going to have an opinion. We're all of us who are fans of Philly sports, we're going to have, a million and one different opinions, and we're not afraid to share them. So it's just the perfect setting for fans to get out what they're feeling and talk about it with other people. And then for WIP or another network to get the content that they're looking for. So it's a fair trade-off if you think about it.
Amen.
Fair
And
enough.
yeah, I couldn't say any better. I think Danny and I
Yeah,
both got lost words like, yep, all right,
yeah.
yep,
And
that'll do. That'll do. That
uh,
was
I,
fantastic.
I mean, I think you came in, you played an away game, and you schooled us on our own turf. That's cool.
It was
So,
fantastic.
uh,
This went so much better than I could have imagined. This was
yeah, right.
fantastic. Michael, you're
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Well,
I'm loving it.
so wonderful.
so
So wonderful.
Alex and I like to make bold predictions way too early. It's this thing that we call what's the last game of the season. So, Michael, for the Birds, who do you have? What is their last game of the season, and who is it against?
So it's week 18, and for the third year in a row, we close our season with the New York Giants.
I think what Danny was asking was playoff wise, postseason, when do you see this Phillies season ending and is
Yes.
it ending with?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Get
Okay.
it. Get it. Who are you
La-
facing in the
We
Super
going
Bowl?
to the Super Bowl.
Because my favorite team is an AFC team. So let's see.
yeah.
Who are you beating?
See, okay. So there's, people are saying, oh, Kansas City will do the three-peat. We haven't had a three-peat, I don't think, ever. Or at
Never.
least not.
Nope,
Yeah, I would say
never.
I don't think there's
Never.
ever. Yeah, there's never.
Not in the
There's
Super
been.
Bowl era.
Yeah, there's been back-to-backs. But there hasn't been a three-peat. I don't think that will happen as of right now, just because of going based off of history. If I had to pick an AFC team, I would probably say the Ravens are looking really good, especially with their Derrick Henry acquisition. So I could see an Eagles-Ravens Super Bowl going.
I love that.
Um, yeah, that's
Dude,
my,
I love that. I think that'd be a great effing Super Bowl.
That pairs well with your World Series prediction, Alex.
Whoa, if Philly and Baltimore could go 2 for 2,
both those cities would burn down regardless.
no matter what. Because honestly, and Michael, I
That,
got love for you, but I see the Ravens beating the Eagles, but I see the Phillies beating the Orioles. So, damn, I would watch the hell out of it. I mean, I'm going to watch Super Bowl either way.
Of course. But
But
like you would extra watch it if that
I
was
would
the
extra. You know what? I would watch it on the TV and on my phone on the Nickelodeon side. Unless I have my kids, then the Nickelodeon would be on the phone. Anyway,
I hope they did like the Toy Story
that
stuff
was
last
weird,
year.
but
It
I
was
went
kind of
with it.
weird, but I have
I dug it.
I got, family, nieces, nephews, kids that love Toy Story, so it was cute to,
Hell, I love
watch
Toy
it.
Story. It's a
I love
Mike.
Toy Story. Are you
Mike,
kidding me?
I was gonna say it's okay. You can admit to liking Toy Story and loving
I
Toy
had it.
Story.
I had both games up when they played it. So I had it regular time, and then I had
Nice.
on one of our iPads the Toy Story game. Or actually, I
Nice.
think I had it reversed so that one of my girls could watch it on the big TV, so it was easier for her to see. Um, but yeah, I think if they do that again, they're reaching another target audience, younger children who may not understand football but like the action of it because they're explaining the plays and the rules and all that kind of stuff. it's perfect marketing right there.
So I think Nickelodeon's better with it because the SpongeBob broadcast is so much more entertaining, educational, and enjoyable than the and maybe it was because it was Falcons Jags. Let's say, let's be real. That's what Andy's room game was. It was Falcons Jags.
Yeah.
Um, but like I didn't feel it was as engaging because I've got two kids and the SpongeBob one gets them every time. They love the SpongeBob
Oh,
broadcast.
yeah, and with,
So
like, the slime and all that stuff, who wouldn't love
I
it as
mean,
a
hell
kid?
yeah. That's a great point. That's a great point. Damn, Michael, this was fun. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course,
Um,
thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, man.
absolutely.
Hey, are you staying on with us?
Yeah, what else you got? Throw it at me, I got this.
We've got amped up.
We've got amped up, Danny. And
Yeah.
this section, Michael,
I
and for
never
all of our
introduced it like
fans,
that. I don't know why I did.
no, because you were amped up. That's all.
Fair enough.
So this
I'm
is where
amped
we
up, let's
talk.
get it.
It's had many different names. It's been pissed off. It's what's got you mad, but no, it's what's got you amped up, what's got you excited, what's got you hot. So the way I have it in the agenda is Danny, Alex, and then you, Michael. So kind of check what we do and then tell us what you got amped up. Doesn't have to be Phillies, it can be Eagles, it could be life, it could be turn signals in a parking lot. I don't care. Whatever's got you amped up, let us know. Danny, what's got you amped up?
Yeah, Alex. So, you know what? I'm going to take one of your old favorites for this week and go umpires, right?
Yes, sir.
We got some news.
We got some umpiring news.
We got some news. Our
Talk
good
to me.
buddy,
Oh,
Angel Hernandez,
friend of the show, Angel Hernandez.
great friend of the show, Angel Hernandez, friend of baseball, friend of everyone, retires this week.
I did see that.
Yeah.
That was some big news. He crossover sports marketing, I'm
Eh,
telling you.
Yeah, they
Yes, he's as well known as Ed Hockley, but not in a way that you want someone to be. Like Ed Hockley, like, yeah, everyone knows him because he's got the amazing guns, and we love
yeah, the
him.
guns,
Angel
man. Gun
Hernandez
show.
because he's freaking terrible at his job. Was terrible at his job.
Gun show and junior gun show. And so that's the thing, right? So Angel retires. I've been doing some digging. He have reports, quote unquote, not forced out, but something went down behind closed doors, right? You're not even 60 games into the season. Something went down. And
Hasn't umped a game since April, by the way.
yeah, there was something going on. And I think so from what I have read and stuff that I've heard that MLB realized they needed to do something about Angel. And not necessarily because of the strike zone, the blown calls. You'll have that. If you read that USA Today article that came out that Memorial Day Monday announcing that he was going to retire the following day, it clearly says that ball strike accuracy, he was not the worst. It was more than same reason that kept him out of the postseason Chiefs or postseason cruise was because of his handling of situations. And that's really what it is. People can accept a bad strike zone or a blown call here or there. Like think about Cowboy Joe West. Like
Yes,
he made it all about him sometimes, but
always.
he was actually respected by the players. The players
Yes, he
liked
was.
him. The players respected him. The players liked his strike zone. So there was that. The players didn't respect Angel.
At
They
all.
were. It was the only umpire that you heard by name constantly in press
And like
conferences.
heard by name in a denigrative fashion and like guys talking very negatively and in the NFL, the NBA, and every other sport, if you hear that denigrative talk from a player about an umpire, you then hear about the fine they receive. I never heard about fines for how people were talking about Angel Hernandez.
No, you didn't. The MLB knew. I mean, who was it? This only happens when you're here, Angel. Like it
Oh, who
became.
was that?
Yeah, who
I
was
forget.
that?
Keep going because we're gonna stop for 5 minutes if we don't.
Yeah, it became a thing. There was a situation, and it was getting bigger than the game. The show has been growing exponentially season after season, but Angel was getting bigger than the game. Absolutely, something went down. I mean, that's the difference between a Joe West and an Angel Hernandez. That's the difference between a CB Buckner and an Angel Hernandez. Like CB makes bad calls all the time, but case in point, this is the warning. This is my warning to 120, Brian Walsh. He had a clunker of a game early in April where he missed something like 20 calls behind the dish, affected the game early April. You only heard about that after he started blowing up on Twitter because of the Harper ejection.
Ooh, that was
People,
such a good ejection. The one where Bryce threw his helmet into the stands on Powder Blue Night? I remember that one.
no. The
No?
120, the Harper
Oh,
ejection
shit,
in
okay, the one
Colorado,
that
this
just
recent
happened
one.
in the
Yes, this
Colorado
recent
series.
one.
Okay, I'm
And
sorry,
that's
I'm
the
so sorry.
thing. People accept bad calls. People accept the bad strike zone. You know, you'll send that text to your buddy like in the seventh, man, this shit has been zoned all game. Or and it starts to move in the second. Like, oh, now he's in the seventh, like, oh, now he's moving the zone. Happens all the time. You get that message to or from your buddy all the time. You accept that. Brian Walsh was trending because of a soft ejection. People can handle bad calls. They can't handle the soft ejections, the ump shows, and that's it. Brian Walsh, 120. This is your warning. You can make a bad call. Don't become Angel. There's
Don't
still
become
time,
Angel.
buddy. This is your second. I think this is the second season in the majors. There's still time to correct your ways. That's
But
my
it's
call,
close.
though.
I
Brian
love it.
Walsh, 120.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say his name. I'll say 120. I will not say his name. But it's funny. We're talking about videos circulating on social media recently this week, and with all this umpiring stuff, I keep seeing that video with the Mets and Noah Syndergaard hitting Utley, and the I forget which umpire it was, but Collins was the manager of the Mets, and he's like just going nuts because Syndergaard got tossed. He's like, dude, like we told you this had to happen, and like it's so nice to see him. Tell me.
We didn't get our shot. We didn't get our shot one. He's gone. Yeah, it's the we didn't get our shot. I totally forget who the ump was, but oh hey, I think he's back.
Yes, that's
It's
correct. I got so excited. I hit a button on my laptop and I yeeted myself at
well, yeah, it's the we you got to give us our shot. You got to give us our chance. That one.
yes, yes.
Yeah, totally forget the ump's name, but yeah,
Ugh, I do too,
where
but it was a great one. Sorry, that threw me off. I yeeted myself out. So
I know
that's
that's
all I've got for your anything else for
no,
your amped up.
no, I'm good. You're up, bro.
No, that's fantastic. I'm in a great mindset for that. So for my amped up, I was going to talk about how all the Casty haters need to like just knock it off and shut up because he currently has 7 home runs and like he's doing his thing and like he's Casty. He's gonna be Casty. Just let him be Casty. Knock it off.
I
But
think that's
Bob
what
Lang,
people are worried about.
okay. He's gonna be who he's gonna be. Hopefully he's hot at the right time. And if he's not, hopefully the rest of your hitters can mask him because if he is hot, he's going to win you the NLDS like he did last year against Atlanta. And if he's not, he's going to lose you the NLCS like he did last year against Arizona, from what people say. So you just hope he stays hot enough at a time when everyone else stays in the correct whatever. Bob Wankel and the folks across top did a great job talking about how Casty is underappreciated. So, in honor of Michael Roscoe being with us tonight, my amped up, okay? My amped up is the fact that my Miami Dolphins just ponied up the dough and paid Jalen Waddle, man. The Penguin is staying in
He
Miami. He
got paid.
paid. He got overpaid. And what I can only hope and pray, man, and this is what's got me amped up. He got paid so much. We're not going to pay Tua. We're going to let him do whatever the hell we're going to do with Tua and move on. I hate Tua. I've hated him since Alabama. I always thought Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback. I've never been a Tua Tagovailoa fan. I don't want him. I never want him. We could have had so many better quarterbacks, and we went with stupid Tua instead. And like Mike McDaniel is an amazing coach, and we're wasting his talent on a guy like Tua, who's never going to take you to the promised land. He's going to aw shucks and hem and haw his way. But if we're not bringing the Legion of Boom, he's not going to be able to Russell Wilson us. And that's as good as he is. He's as good as Russell Wilson on a decent enough day. He doesn't have a Legion of Boom to carry him to a Super Bowl. I hate Miami Dolphins so much because of how much I love them. They've got me amped up. Michael, out of curiosity, do you have anything that has you amped up?
Kind of tying it into your football. I mean, just Eagles OTAs in general. So after the collapse from last year, because our coordinators had the competency of a sack of potatoes when it came to play calling and everything like that. So I looked at the stats. Sean Desai's defense from like 2021 to now statistically got worse every single year. And here's the thing. We originally wanted Vic Fangio as our coordinator last year. Jonathan
Have him.
Gannon with the
Have him.
camp. Well, here, I'll get into that later on. With the whole with Jonathan Gannon and tampering with Arizona, it kind of threw us into a curveball because we were like, oh, he's gonna stay with us, and then he's like, okay, JK, LOL, I'm gonna go to Arizona. And then by that time, Fangio had already went with the Dolphins, so we're like, okay, we need somebody, so we get Sean Desai. But yeah, his defense was like 21st ranked, then it went like 23rd, then 25th, and then this year was like 31st, and it was just abysmal. Um, Now that we have Kellen Moore on the offensive coordinator side and Vic Fangio on the defensive side, who has ties to Philly, he was with us in 2022 as like a defensive consult for like 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. No, actually, not even there. It was like in October as well. He was with us for a little bit in October to help us get our defense to the Super Bowl. And that defense was absolutely monstrous. 70 sacks across the entire league, number one ranked defense, number one defensive line. It was a flawless defense that I just watched crash and burn this year under just poor coordinating. And so the OTAs that I've seen so far under, the differences in the coordinators from Kellen Moore to Brian Johnson and Vic Fangio to Sean Desai, it's looking a lot better. And I think it has the players a little more confident in themselves because we saw Jalen Hurts like sliding a bunch last year versus 2022, where he was like, running all the time without, any fear, with a whole bunch of confidence. And there's like a clip of him like just sprinting, after a fake handoff to Saquon Barkley in a drill, and it's got Philly fans in a frenzy. Because he looks healthier. He looks like he's a more confident. The knee thing was a lot of thing last year, and people wouldn't shut the fuck up about the knee thing for like 8 weeks. I'm like, guys, he's okay. It's not like 100% because what knee is 100% after an injury, but it's not like he lost his ACL or his MCL or his PCL. It's just a random injury that he's been dealing with and was able to power through it. But my amped up is OTAs because I'm just loving what I'm seeing so far. I love the Saquon Barkley acquisition. He's going to be behind an offensive line that is not built like Swiss cheese. It's going to be fantastic because he's putting up those stats with an offensive line in New York that is basically like a store on Black Friday. Just let everybody in. But he's going to be behind one of the best offensive lines, coached by the best offensive line coach in the league under Jeff Stoutland. So, he's going to have, a tremendous year with us. And, again, it's a little early to predict all this kind of stuff, but I have a lot of confidence going into what I've seen. We've checked off a lot of boxes by getting, 2 first-round corners, one in the first and one in the second with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I'm just excited. I think we're starting to realize what mistakes were there. Maybe we're realizing them a little too late. I wish we realized these in the middle of the season, but you know what? I'll take it. Better to have it at some point than not at all. So I'm just amped up over these OTAs and just seeing how the team's going to go about in camp. So that's my big amp up.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
And that's a great thing to be amped up about. When you get the content, you enjoy the content. And I'll be honest with you, if I believed in my team, I would lather and just enjoy the hell out of this content as well. I don't, so I stick to baseball at this time of year because the Dolphins will only ever break my heart. But I gotta give you a huge thank you, Michael Roscoe. Fantastic job coming into the show, coming into our house, and providing and producing like an absolute champ. This is your opportunity. Plug away, man. Anything you want to talk about, anything that you want to pitch to our listeners, please, the floor is yours.
I just want to say thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I ain't gonna lie. It's even, we have our sports differences, but we have a lot of similarities in our personalities, our conversational styles, our passion for sports in general. I love it. And I love it when you can do that with, different levels of sports fandom across different sports, different, years of knowledge or, things like that. So I really love that. I would love to be on the show again. Maybe I'll have you guys on an episode of mine sometime. Maybe during the Dolphins. Danny, do you have a specific football team that you like? Are you Eagles? Are you someone different?
Yeah, so I've been in Philadelphia now for over 2 decades. I have a very strong rooting interest in the Philadelphia Eagles. I grew up a Steelers fan. I was from that part of the state. It's one of those things. But 20 years watching the birds, you yell "Go Birds" here.
Of course, you
Y'all go
got to.
birds.
But yeah, I'd love to have you guys on at some point as well. For those who are listening to this and like football, come check out my podcast, Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can find it on all the OCSN websites, social media. Just started posting some stuff up to my own personal YouTube channel. So, the algorithm's probably looking at my phone like, what is going on? You're posting like 80 posts right now. There's merchandise for both, Quit Chasin and Second and 15. There's a promo code, 15% off. So don't forget about that.
Professional, very
Love it.
professional.
Love it.
Gotta throw that in, just, again,
Big
marketing,
fan.
marketing.
Big fan.
But no,
I've got my section later. Don't worry.
But no, I love, I'm a big sports guy. I love talking about sports, even if it's some stuff that I'm not too familiar with, like baseball. I actually really wanted to play baseball growing up as a kid, and I thought it was and my mom didn't want me to play, and I thought it was because of my uncle's injury. He broke his orbital bone and a couple other injuries from a pitch that got, he was pitching, it went back, hit him in the face. And then, down the line, years later, I played football in high school. I played college rugby. And then I was like, my mom's letting me play all these sports. What's going on? She just didn't want to watch me as a kid for 6 hours play baseball.
I get that. I do get that.
But yeah, so I just love being able to talk with people who talk sports, regardless of whether we're talking about one sport, talking about 8 sports. I love it. So I appreciate you guys for reaching out to me and having me on. 10 out of 10 would do this again.
Oh, nice. It was our pleasure. It was fun. And we can't thank you enough.
100%, Michael. This was awesome. I grew up. My very best friend. We talked about him earlier in the episode. Matt Pupo, diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. So all those years with Domac and Andy Reid, I lived through those as a tangential fan. So always happy to hear Eagles talk. So super happy to have you on, man. I'd be more than happy to come on anytime on your show. That'd be awesome.
Definitely. Thank you again.
So absolutely, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us, and you have a great rest of your evening, sir.
Y'all man,
you can split or hang out. It's totally up to you. But thank you.
I'll watch the rest. I'll let y'all do the rest of y'all's thing, but I'll be lurking in the studio.
I love a good creeper, so that's fantastic. That's fine. I'm good with that. All right, Danny, that was a lot of fun. We should do that more often. We should get more guests because that was good.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Are you done messing with the
I'm done. We're good. I had to get our stuff back.
We go. There's the
we made it green for Michael. We tried to be welcoming.
True. Well, Danny, I don't know why you switched to this because we still have one more segment to get to, and I know that you made up some custom worlding for that. So love it or hate it, Danny. We're coming in hot, folks. This week, we're going a little bit different. This has been a very, very sports heavy episode, and we want to be entertaining as well. So, you know what? No, screw that. I stand by it. So, we decided to do a little segment for our Love It or Hate It, in which we both listen to a new studio album that dropped, and we tell you if we love it or hate it. So, this week, upon my suggestion, Danny and I have listened to the Say Anything album. Love It is Committed. So is Committed is the name of the album. Danny, love it or hate it?
Yeah, here's the deal, Alex. I definitely don't love it.
Oh, tell us why you don't love it, Dana.
Yeah, so all right, it's Committed, right? It just when did it release? Friday, last Friday.
I think last Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Thursday, like that.
So Say Anything is coming through Philly on their Is a Real Boy reunion tour.
Love that they just dropped an album but aren't even touring to celebrate said album. They're touring to celebrate a 20-year-old album.
Right, exactly. So like I know because I've been seeing it and hearing it everywhere, and there is a buzz amongst the community of Say Anything coming through Philadelphia for the 20th reunion tour or 20th anniversary tour of Is a Real Boy, which is a spectacular album.
Dude, Herb Werb was the soundtrack to my college. So to those who don't know, Herb Werb is a real boy, was a real boy. Herb Werb. It was a 2-disc album, total of like 21 tracks. Did not have to be 2 discs, except it was like one song too long. But anyways, phenomenal album. Their best album by far.
Right. So, with all that excitement and knowing that they're coming in, there was a little part of me that was like, I want that. And this album isn't it. So,
No, because
listen,
it's go ahead. I'll get to
Matt,
mine, but go ahead.
I think it's beyond cringy. Max is definitely going through something, right? And here's the
Right?
thing.
Like Max is going through some shit right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, it's
And
tough.
like, wow, I can get sexual too, or every man has a Molly for like some of the
Ugh,
like goofy lyrics or whatever that is said there. There's still like that charm to them.
yes.
This is that without any of the charm. And it just muddles through an awful, like kind of I wouldn't say over distorted thin recording. And I just can't do it.
That is unbelievably amazing of an assessment because you're so right. And here's where I'm at with it because I agree with you. First off, just like so many Say Anything albums and songs before, it's super catchy. Like it is super catchy. There are some really catchy ass tracks. But then you
Yeah,
start listening to the
Psych has
lyrics.
got a unbelievably catchy chorus. Yeah, there's a lot of catch to it.
Dude, Psych has a great chorus. On Come and I Vibrator are phenomenal, like catchy little dridges. I find myself, but here's the thing: I can't go walking through the office singing any of these songs because Max Bemis, unfortunately, at no point did he graduate from being a 16-year-old boy. Like we just mentioned that Herb is a boy, was a boy, is 20 years old. Okay, Max, my man's, you're doing the same shit in your 50s that you were doing in your late 20s? Like, buddy, come
There's no
on.
way he's in his 50s.
No, but he's damn near his late 40s. How old do you think he was when Is a Boy Was a Boy like came out?
They were young.
Because it's been 20 years. So if
Okay,
he
yeah.
was even 27
He's
years old and
40. He's
he's
40.
only 40?
He's 40. I just
He
looked it
was
up.
20 with Herb?
84. Yeah, they were young.
Well, okay, all right, then fair enough. So he peaked at 20 and then never grew out of 20. Because I'll be honest with you, the craziest thing about this album was I don't know how deep into Say Anything's discography you've gone.
That's a question, not horribly.
Okay. I am a massive Say Anything fan. I've listened to every album from Junior Varsity and Menorah Majora all the way to Hebrews and Anarchy, My Dear, and this. Like, but this is 2008 Say Anything coming back in 2024. And I think that's my biggest problem with it. Like, I rip sometimes on bands that evolve too much. Like, honestly, even Arctic Monkeys and Cage the Elephant, like, okay, guys, we get it. You're slow and melodic, but can you have a little bit of fun again, please? Can we go back to having fun? But like, Say Anything, it just there's a lack of maturity that is disheartening, and this album kind of shows that. And so, hate it. I wanted to love it, Danny, and God help me, I'm still gonna listen to some of the songs. But you know what the trick is with Say Anything. And my dad said this to me when I first got divorced. I was listening to one. I know, deep, right? I was listening to one of the Say Anything albums, and he's like, "Hey, maybe that's not the best thing to listen to right now." And I was like, I took a step back and like I started listening to Max Bemis lyrics, and I'm like, oh, oh God, no, no, you're right. This is not the mindset to really ever put yourself in. And that was a really telling time for me. So hate it. That's all I got.
Wow, I really thought your nostalgia for it was going to surpass the album, and I was really expecting you to go love it on that one.
No, I hate it because of a lack of maturation and growth. I think
Well,
I wanted to love it, Danny, and I couldn't, and that bothers me.
the futile, it outweighs the beautiful.
I watched my yellow cat invade my red cat in the yard. But, Danny, that's not all that we're here to talk about. Okay.
Oh,
So just say you're talking about say anything coming through. We're talking about going to Phillies games and stuff. And if live entertainment is what you're after, we're here to make that a little bit easier for you. With our sponsor, SeatGeek, you can get $20 off on your first order when you use the promo code Old City Sports Network. And don't forget that E at the end of old. But honestly, no matter where you are, when it is, or what you're up to, it never hurts to look your best. If you have a beard and you're in need of some love, make sure to check out Warlord Beard Essentials. And while you're there, use promo code Old Sports. Sorry, that's Old Sports in all caps, and get 15% off and then free shipping on all orders over $65. And lastly, Danny, honestly, I highly recommend you check out Righteous Felon Jerky Cartel. Hop on over to the Righteous Felon Jerky Cartel website. Use promo code OCSN, all lowercase, and get 15% off your order, plus free shipping on orders over $50. It's going to be a long season. Treat yourself. Get a big bundle of meat to snack on. You're worth it.
well done, Alex.
Thank you kindly. This week I feel bad that I just kind of had to lump them all in together, but I enjoyed it. We're already at 110 or an hour and 10 minutes. So
Yeah, we
we
were
should
doing
probably,
stuff this week.
you know what? We had fun. I would not sacrifice a single second. Maybe the say anything portion went on a little bit long. I'll be honest with you. I
I would
don't
get
think
rid of that dumbass game. Hey, everyone,
Oh,
thanks for listening. We'll do better next week, I promise. Alex, tell them how to get a hold of us.
folks, if you want to contact us through snail or electronic mail, that would be at quitchasingpodcast@gmail.com. You want to hit us up on Twitter, that's going to be at quitchasingpod. And if you're checking us out on YouTube, look up the Quit Chasing Podcast. You can see our lovely faces and Michael's setup on this week's episode. And keep checking in. Thank you so much for listening. We'll do better next week.
Oh, do you promise now?
I do, because I feel like I did not bring my AS of games.
Hey, this week we're going to close it out with the Audrey 2, a great big thing. Everybody knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant.